05:21 local time, Caribbean Sea, international waters. Inside the Combat Information Center aboard USS George Washington, the screens glow a muted blue. Range rings tighten. Course vectors redraw themselves without commentary. No one raises their voice. They don't need to. 6 surface contacts. Unidentified. Speed increasing. Formation coordinated. The call is flat. Professional. Logged. This is a carrier strike group, not a single ship. USS George Washington sits at the center, surrounded by her escorts. 2 Arleigh Burke-class destroyers flanking her, 1 Ticonderoga-class cruiser riding forward, support vessels maintaining station. This is 70,000 tons of American naval power moving through international waters on a scheduled transit. And 6 ships just appeared on radar, closing fast. On the bridge of the carrier, the officer of the deck shifts his weight and looks down. Not at the horizon, but at the repeater mounted just below the windows. The numbers tell the story faster than eyes ever could. Distance shrinking, angles converging, closest point of approach recalculated every 15 seconds. Below deck across multiple hulls, steel doors cycle open and shut as watchstanders move with purpose. Not rushed, not slow, just practiced. Boots hit deck plates, headsets settle into place. Every motion is muscle memory earned the hard way. Conditioned posture changes without ceremony. No alarms, no theatrics, just readiness multiplied across the strike group. The carrier holds course. That matters. Out on the water, the 6 contacts are still officially unknown. No ice, no friendly response to bridge hails. Their profiles sharpen with every mile they steal back. Hull length, superstructure spacing. Radar cross-sections that register smaller than expected. These aren't commercial vessels. These aren't fishing boats. This is approach behavior. CPA under 15 nautical miles and decreasing. Another log entry, another quiet confirmation that time has become a factor. Across the strike group, the message passes through encrypted channels. 6 contacts, coordinated approach, profile consistent with patrol vessels or light combatants. On the bridge of the lead destroyer, the captain watches the same display everyone else is watching. He doesn't speak immediately. He lets the geometry explain itself. The 6 contacts are spreading into a loose formation, not defensive, not escort pattern, something else. The strike group does not change speed. That also matters. The ocean stays calm under early morning darkness, but the geometry does not. The 6 contacts angle inward, not parallel to the strike group's course, but intersecting it. Converging from multiple bearings, creating a pattern that forces attention. This is where accidents are born or prevented. Contacts remain unresponsive to hails. The words land without emotion. They don't need any. Long-range optics come alive across multiple ships, lenses adjusting automatically, feeding stabilized imagery back into the strike group's nervous system. White wakes cut through dark water. You can see the aggression in how they're made. Sharp turns, high speed, closing distance without the caution that professional navies typically display. In sick aboard the cruiser, an analyst leans closer to his screen, comparing silhouettes against memory. Smaller hulls, lighter armament, the kind of shapes that match patrol boats or corvettes. The database narrows the possibilities quickly. Likely Venezuelan naval vessels. Likely becomes probable. Probable is enough. The strike group acknowledges nothing else changes. That's the point. A junior watchstander glances at the tactical coordinator, then back to his display. The coordinator's posture doesn't signal alarm. It signals assessment. That message carries across the network. Outside, the range ticks down. 12 nautical miles, then 10.8. Across the strike group, weapon systems remain in travel configuration. visible but not threatening, a state that can change in seconds if needed. Anyone trained to read warships understands the difference. Inside the Venezuelan ship's bridges, someone sees it. They have to. No one fires, no one locks, no one escalates yet. Contacts now visually identified. The pause before the next words is brief, but it's there. 6 Venezuelan naval vessels. Fast attack craft. Closing on intercept courses. No one reacts. There's nothing to react to. Nationality answers questions, but it doesn't change math. The math says 6 small vessels are approaching a carrier strike group at high speed. The math says this is either incompetence or provocation. Either way, the response is the same. On the bridge of USS George Washington, the captain receives the update from SIC. His voice is calm when he responds. Maintain course. Maintain speed. Inform the escorts to maintain defensive posture. Log everything. That's it. No dramatic declarations, no elevated threat levels, just instruction. The strike group keeps moving. 4 ships in formation cutting through Caribbean water. Systems awake, crews focused, restraint intact. Every sensor records, every second is time-stamped. Every maneuver, theirs and ours, becomes evidence. The range continues to shrink, 9 nautical miles, then 8.2. One of the Venezuelan vessels transmits. The signal is clear but unprofessional. Attention, American warship. You are approaching Venezuelan territorial waters. You must alter course immediately. The response comes from the cruiser, calm and factual. This is United States Navy Carrier Strike Group transiting international waters. Our position is 140 nautical miles from Venezuelan coastline. We are exercising our right to freedom of navigation. Request you maintain safe distance. Silence follows. Then another transmission, louder this time, more insistent. You are not welcome in these waters. Alter course now or face consequences. The strike group does not respond again. There's no need. The facts have been stated. The position is clear. Repeating it would serve no purpose except to engage in a radio argument that benefits no one. The Venezuelan vessels continue their approach, 7 nautical miles now. Their formation tightens. You can see the pattern they're attempting. 3 vessels approaching from the bow, 2 from the port quarter, 1 from starboard. An envelope. A surround. In SIC aboard the carrier, the watch supervisor marks each movement. They're trying to box us in. The tactical coordinator nods once. Let them try. Because the mathematics are simple. 6 patrol boats displacing perhaps 500 tons each against a carrier strike group, displacing over 90,000 tons combined. 6 vessels with light armament against a defensive network that can track and engage hundreds of targets simultaneously. This isn't a contest, it's theater. But theater can turn dangerous when professionalism is absent. At 0544 local time, the range drops below 6 nautical miles. The Venezuelan vessels maintain high speed. No reduction, no caution. They're committed to the approach now. Whatever message they intended to send, they're sending it. On the bridge of the lead destroyer, the captain gives a quiet order. Activate fire control radars. Tracking mode only. No locks. Make sure they see it. Across the strike group, systems that were passive shift to active. Radar emissions spike. The Venezuelan vessels are now being painted by some of the most sophisticated targeting systems afloat. Not locked. Not threatened with engagement. Just illuminated. Tracked. Measured. The message is clear without words. We see you. We know exactly where you are. We know exactly what you're doing. And we're not impressed. One of the Venezuelan vessels breaks left suddenly, increasing speed. An aggressive maneuver, flashy. Designed to demonstrate boldness. In professional navies it would be called reckless. The strike group does not react. Course steady, speed unchanged, formation intact. 5 nautical miles. The Venezuelan vessels are close enough now that bridge crews can see them without magnification. Small gray shapes cutting through water, wakes white and violent behind them. Another transmission. Final warning. Alter course, or we will take action. The cruiser responds once more, tone unchanged. This is United States Navy Strike Group in international waters. We will not alter course. Any aggressive action will be considered a hostile act and will be met with appropriate response. Recommend you maintain safe distance. The radio goes quiet, but the Venezuelan vessels do not slow. 4 nautical miles. 3.6. In SIC, the watch teams across the strike group coordinate seamlessly. Target tracks are shared. Firing solutions are calculated but not executed. Defensive weapons are ready but not deployed. This is the balance. Prepared for anything. Committed to nothing until forced. The captain of USS George Washington watches the display. The 6 Venezuelan vessels are now inside what would normally be considered a defensive perimeter. Not dangerously close. Not yet. But close enough that their intentions are unmistakable. They want the carrier to turn, to acknowledge their presence, to validate their ability to influence American naval operations. The carrier continues forward, steady, unwavering, silent. 3 nautical miles. The lead Venezuelan vessel crosses the carrier's bow at high speed, port to starboard, cutting across the formation's path. It's aggressive, it's dangerous, it's also predictable. The strike group maintains course. The Venezuelan vessel passes ahead with 1,000 yards to spare. Not close enough to justify defensive action. Close enough to be recorded as unprofessional seamanship. The other 5 vessels continue their envelope maneuver. 2 alongside now matching speed, 3 trailing, angling for position. They're maintaining the surround, maintaining the pressure. But pressure only works when the other side feels it. Inside the Combat Information Center, the atmosphere remains clinical. Tracks are updated, logs are maintained, communications are recorded. This isn't panic. This isn't even elevated concern. This is documentation. Because everyone in SIC understands something the Venezuelan crews apparently don't. This encounter has only one possible outcome. The carrier strike group will continue its transit. The Venezuelan vessels will eventually break off. The only variable is when and how that break-off occurs. At 0557 local time. 2 nautical miles. Close enough now that details are visible. Crew members on deck. Weapon mounts tracking. Small arms visible, but not aimed. These are patrol boats doing their best to look intimidating next to a 90,000-ton aircraft carrier. The optics would be comical if the situation weren't so dangerous. One of the trailing Venezuelan vessels accelerates suddenly, racing up the port side of the formation. High speed. Aggressive angle. It closes to within 800 yards of the carrier's hull. That's close. Too close. On the bridge, the officer of the deck makes a call. Bridge, SIC. Venezuelan contact 4 now, inside defensive perimeter. Recommend course change to open distance. The captain's response is immediate. Negative. Maintain course. Track the contact. Inform me if it closes inside 500 yards. The carrier holds her line. The Venezuelan vessel races alongside, its wake merging with the carrier's. For a moment, the 2 ships run parallel. David beside Goliath. A patrol boat beside a floating city. Then the Venezuelan vessel falls back. Not retreating, repositioning. The point has been made. The presence has been demonstrated. But nothing has changed. The strike group continues forward. Course unchanged, speed unchanged, mission unchanged. In SIC, the watch supervisor notes the closest point of approach. 740 yards logged. recorded, analyzed. That's close enough to demonstrate intent, not close enough to justify escalation. The Venezuelan formation maintains contact for another 12 minutes. Ships darting around the formation, transmissions becoming less frequent. Energy fading from the maneuvers. Then, without announcement, the lead Venezuelan vessel breaks away. Not dramatically, just a gradual turn to port, opening distance. The others follow within minutes. One by one, they peel off and reverse course. The envelope dissolves. The surround evaporates. The 6 vessels that approached with such aggression withdraw with quiet acceptance. No final transmission. No parting warning, just departure. The range opens. 2 nautical miles. 3. 5. The Venezuelan vessels fade back toward their own waters. Their brief moment of theatrical aggression concluded. The carrier strike group continues its transit. 7 ships in formation, exactly as before. As if 6 patrol boats never approached. As if threats were never made. As if nothing of significance occurred. But everyone on board knows better. At 06:07 local time, the Venezuelan vessels are beyond visual range now. Radar tracks confirm they've resumed patrol patterns closer to their own coastline. The American strike group continues its planned mission through the Caribbean. Watches rotate. Logs are finalized. The operational tempo shifts back to routine. Down in the combat information centers across the strike group, the work continues. Radar recordings are archived. Communication logs are indexed. Every maneuver, every transmission, every moment of the encounter is time-stamped and preserved. Nothing is summarized yet. Nothing is interpreted. Facts come first. This is how professional navies treat encounters like this. Not as stories, as data. Because data endures longer than memory. And memory alone doesn't hold up when decisions are questioned later. On the bridge of USS George Washington, the captain reviews the final entries with a glance, not a speech. The watch team resets to routine posture without being told. There is no sense of triumph. There is no sense of relief loud enough to name. There is only professionalism settling back into place. This was never about winning a confrontation. It was about exercising rights without surrendering them. About maintaining course without compromising safety. About demonstrating capability without demonstrating aggression. The strike group did not maneuver to avoid the Venezuelan vessels. It did not slow down. It did not alter mission. It simply continued its lawful transit through international waters. That continuation, expressed calmly and consistently, did more than any radio challenge ever could. The Venezuelan Navy learned something in those minutes of high-speed approaches and aggressive maneuvers. So did the American crews. Encounters like this always teach both sides something. The difference is in what they choose to do with the lesson. For the sailors aboard the American ships, the takeaway is straightforward. Procedures worked. Discipline held. The chain of command remained intact under pressure. That is not accidental. It is the result of years of training that assumes difficult moments will come without warning. In calm seas, under conditions that require restraint more than reaction. Out here, restraint is not passive. It is active control. Every decision made during the encounter was made with an understanding of consequences that extend far beyond these ships. A single overreaction can create international incidents. A single miscalculation can escalate situations that diplomacy must then resolve. That is why nothing dramatic happened. That is why nothing needed to. The strike group did exactly what it was designed to do. Operate forward, maintain presence, exercise rights, all without provocation or escalation. This is the part of naval power most people never see. No missiles fired, no dramatic maneuvers, no footage meant for headlines, just quiet professionalism applied at the moment of friction. And that quiet is deliberate. Because in the modern maritime environment, power is often measured not by what you do, but by what you don't have to do. Not by the weapons you fire, but by the course you maintain. Not by the confrontations you win, but by the escalations you prevent. What kept this encounter professional was not luck. It was preparation meeting discipline at the moment of test. By the time the Venezuelan vessels were well clear, the strike group had already moved on. Flight operations continued. Training evolutions resumed. The ships pressed ahead as if nothing of note had occurred, but something had occurred. 6 vessels attempted to intimidate a carrier strike group. They approached at high speed. They issued warnings. They surrounded the formation with all the aggression their capabilities allowed. And the carrier strike group continued forward. Unmoved, undeterred, unchanged. That is the lesson. That is always the lesson. At 6:38 local time. Somewhere else, in another stretch of ocean, another strike group will steam another day. Another contact will appear. Another challenge will be issued. And the same response will be given. Maintain course, maintain speed, maintain professionalism. Because in international waters, the right to transit isn't negotiable. It isn't subject to approval from nations whose waters you're not even near. It isn't something you ask permission to exercise, it's something you do. Calmly. Professionally, without apology. For now, USS George Washington continues her transit through the Caribbean. Her escorts maintain formation. Her mission continues uninterrupted. Behind her, 6 Venezuelan patrol boats return to their stations, carrying with them the memory of an encounter where aggression met discipline and discipline won without firing a shot. The carrier disappears into the distance, gray hull steady against blue water. Flight deck prepared for operations. Strike group intact and operational. No course altered, no mission compromised, no rights surrendered. Just another day in international waters. Just another reminder that presence isn't about permission, it's about persistence. And sometimes the strongest message a Navy can send is the simplest one. We are here. We will remain here. And we will not be moved by theater. The Caribbean Sea stretches ahead. The mission continues. The strike group moves forward, and behind them, the lesson settles into the water like the wake disappearing behind a ship. Intimidation attempted. Discipline demonstrated. Professionalism maintained. That is the answer. Every single time.